Destination Travels. My name is Kamel, and today we're going to be talking about the benefits of traveling solo or solo travel. So, before we get into all that, let me talk about this channel. This channel is about traveling slow. It's about the journey, getting from point A to point B and enjoying the way there. It doesn't have to be a rush. I hate when I see travelers, they only got 4 days, so they gotta do all this, gotta do all that in 4 days, and then when they come home, they're just as tired as before they left. Maybe a bit of a smile because they had some of that good food, but it's hard trying to fit a month worth of sightseeing and meeting locals into 4 days. You barely sleep. You're hungover from partying the night before because you're also trying to hit the club. But I know Destination Travel, we're all about traveling. So for the last year and some change, I've been traveling the world. Mostly staying in Asia, but beginning of next year, I will move on to Europe. I will be going to North America. I will be going to South America. Just all over, very slowly. I'm staying in month 3 in each place. So before we can talk about the benefits, we gotta talk about some of the fears. Men and women both have some of the similar fears. Some of the same fears, someone doing personal harm to you, being robbed, being unable to communicate in a place where you can't even find your hostel, being lost. And there are ways to prevent those things, and we will discuss that in a different video. But today I want to just talk about the benefits of traveling solo. We'll keep that. All right, so we're first talking about flexibility. So the problem is I see so many people compromising their trip. They came to do certain things and they're with someone who came to do a different amount of certain thing, or maybe you're just two different travelers. And that could be a huge problem when it comes to getting what you want out of this trip. And that's really all it's about, getting what you want out of this trip. And they want to get what they want out of this trip. And sometimes your wants are too different to actually come to a compromise. And the thing is, you don't know what kind of traveler you are until you travel. So when I'm talking about flexibility, it's about being able to do what you set out to do. Having the time, having the control. No one telling you, you have to do this, or we have to do this, or they want to do this. And have you ever been dragged to maybe a significant other's party and you don't like any of their friends and you're just like, you don't want to do that during traveling. This is a fun time. This is a time to explore. A time to be yourself. So one of the benefits is flexibility. Second benefit is time. One of the worst things is trying to coordinate time, especially even if you travel with not just your significant other. Maybe your two are on point, but maybe you're in a group. Maybe you have a group of friends and y'all each have a different idea of what traveling means to you. And you're arguing and someone's trying to be the bigger person. Eventually, you lose out on time. For that hour you spent discussing, looking up different things, trying to do something that you can all do, you could have been there and back. So one of the things that's a real benefit is, one of the things of traveling solo is the benefit of time. You save a lot of time with all that compromise, and you make the travel. If you got 4 days, you can spend it doing exactly what you set out to do. And that way, at least when you're done with your trip, you can say, well, I accomplished this. Or not, I have to come back next time because I didn't get to do this. And when you're traveling slow, you get more days to do things. You get more time to go places. You get to spend not only 4 days in Ho Chi Minh, but 4 days in Hanoi, 4 days in Hoi An, 4 days in Da Nang. These are all places in Vietnam, by the way. Anyways, but it's time. I'll tell you a quick story. One time, I went to Italy with a friend, and that friend brought a friend, and I was like, oh. But the friend seemed cool. I really liked her dad. Shout out to her dad. But anyways, during the trip, the girl kept accepting these gifts from the foreign hustlers that's always trying to sell things. They're trying to make a living, I understand. But she kept accepting them and she wasn't paying. Now they're looking at me saying, hey, you have to pay for this. I was like, I ain't her man. I barely knew her. I met her maybe a week before the trip, you know what I'm saying? And that was really making us angry because we kept having to stop because she wants to feed the birds, and then I have to argue with the men saying, you stop giving her these gifts. Anyways, tangent. What I'm saying is, when you travel by yourself, you have a little bit more time. So, the third one is, but the fourth one is the nagging. And I'm just gonna give you my definition of nagging. I'm not sure if it's in the Webster, but my definition of nagging is annoying the hell out of me with your fault finding. Sometimes you have two different travelers. You have the chill traveler, you know. You have the chill traveler. You know, you just want to sit back, drink coffee, talk to a local, smoke a little hashish if you got it. Then you have the chill traveler. You just want to eat, drink, sit at a cafe, go to a few historical sites, party a little bit at night, eat some good food, real chill time. That's his idea. Maybe going to the beach. That's his idea of a good time. And then you have the planner. And every minute has to be planned out. They miss a second and they're stressed out. And these two people clash. And like I said, you never know what kind of travel you are until you actually get out there and travel. Otherwise, everything's hypothetical. So you get there and you're clashing. And eventually you'll start nagging each other. They annoy you, you annoy them. And it's mostly because you guys are not communicating well, because you have different forms of communication and you're in a stressful environment, and traveling can be stressful if you are not traveling with the right partner. And you can avoid that for now if you just travel solo. Next one is strangers. Now I know what you're thinking. Stranger danger, stranger danger, stranger danger, stranger danger. Oh. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna keep that, but we're gonna keep it. So anyway, let's talk about strangers. Now, I know what your mother taught you. Don't talk to strangers. Normally, that's probably a good rule, especially if you're probably anywhere between the age of 0 and 18. But as you get older, you learn that, you know, the person, your significant other, might be a stranger that you met, and the only way you can meet them is by talking to them. You might learn that the only way to meet your good friend, your best friend, might be someone you never met. They were a stranger. And what happens when you travel with other people, you become in the sort of bubble. And no one wants to break that bubble. Everybody assumes that you want to be in that bubble. So when you travel by yourself, you become more receptive to other people's communication, body language. You become more inviting, and they become more inviting to you, more accepting to you. I know one example I'll give. I was actually in a hostel in Hungary. Again, if I say the name wrong, please let me know in the comments. But yes, I was in Hungary, Budapest. And I was trying to, I wanted to go to hot springs and stuff like that, but I was traveling alone. I had just got from Greece. I took a Flixbus. By the way, amazing. Actually, I'm gonna do a video about a Flixbus, but I was traveling by myself and I met these amazing group of people. They actually put us together. The staff at the hostel that I stayed at put us together, and we were able to travel together. We had very similar interests, and we had very similar travel styles. And because of that, we got along very great. It made my trip even more enjoyable. I also had someone to watch my back as I was going to bars and stuff like that. And when you're in a hostel, you meet these people. You meet locals, you meet people of similar caliber. Maybe they're traveling alone as well. Maybe you're from the same place. You never know. But there's this cultural exchange that happens with strangers because you're traveling alone, and they see that you're alone, and they maybe want to talk. Maybe you want to exchange your culture. But when you're in a group, they may not want to approach you because they would assume that you're in this bubble. Last thing I want to talk about is finding out who you are. Now, no destination travels. I say it's about progress. I say it's about the journey. And during this journey, you need to find out who you are. And I know what you're thinking. I already know who I am. But realistically, you find out who you are when You're away from everybody's expectations of who you are. Realistically, you want to find out who you are without all the expectations of others. Without the expectation of your mom, your sister, your brother, your father, your cousins, your best friends, your girlfriend, whichever one. You gotta sit there and you deal with you. You find out about yourself, because you don't have all these voices in your head. Now you can find out your voice. You can find out what you want to do. And better, when you come home, even better when you come home, you have these experiences to share. You have this new you. You have this new energy. You have this new aura about you. If you do it right, if you really dig deep and find out who you are as a person, you can find that only through trial and error and with enough time. You can only find out with trial and error and enough time to actually build that change, that character that you may not have back home. I definitely suggest to everyone to travel more and to find out who they are. You're in this stressful environment. Yes, traveling can be stress-free, but there are little amounts of stress here and there because you're in an unknown area. You may not speak the language and you're trying to make a way. When I think about finding yourself, I always think about the movie Waterboy. You know, he's like, Mama said that alligators hungry because they have all them big teeth. And everybody's looking at him like, okay, that's an example of you're being fed this idea, and this idea becomes who you are, but it's not really who you are. It's what people fed you. Right? And I guess you are what you eat. But eat something new, become something new. And I just want to give a quick video on benefits of traveling solo. If you like it, like I said, please like, please subscribe. Thank you for listening. This is No Destination Travels. Travel slow. See you later.